plant nutrition. What is it all about? Is it a big deal, or is it just another fad that's going to blow over in a couple years? Today, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about my Montana diet that went from out shooting my own food to being a smoothie, plant-based lover. I also love meat. But how I made that transition and why. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you about 3 keys that I used to get plant nutrition into my diet. Stick around. So I grew up in Montana, good old Montana. And on a farm, on a ranch, we grew our own food. My mom was this gardener. We had cows, we had milk, we had all those things, pigs and chickens. And so I grew up with this kind of like a meat and potatoes kind of a diet. And yes, in Montana, we even have McDonald's. So I got, pretty soon, it wasn't too long before I was drinking a lot of sweet sodas and drinks like that and eating a lot of processed foods. And so I got kind of like in this process of eating this like high caloric, dense food with not much good nutrition in it. And in my 30s and 20s, 30s, and 40s, I was good. I was strong. I was active. But then when I got into my late 40s, early 50s, I started noticing that my body was starting to have like a lot of aches and pains. I was putting on some weight. My knees were starting to ache and hurt as I was walking around. And then I started having these crises in my life where some of my friends were having these serious medical problems that were totally preventable. And it was mostly based on their diet. And I knew that I was heading in that direction. And so I was almost like forced to make a change or make a decision about a change, whether or not I wanted to keep going in this same direction. So I began to do some research, and I began to think about this, and I just started making some changes, and it brought about some fantastic things in my life that I was able to go from hardly being able to run. In fact, I don't think I could run at one point in my life, in my late 40s, early 50s, to now I'm out doing, century rides on my bikes and marathons and Ironman, things like that. And I think it's mostly due to the change that I made to the food and the nutrition that I put into my bodies. So let's take a look in a couple of minutes in the next session about nutrition, what it is, how it works, and why plant-based nutrition is so good for you. Okay, so let's take a look at what nutrition really is. And here's how I look at nutrition, what it is, how it works, and that kind of stuff. So nutrition is food that you put into your mouth and you swallow it. It goes into your stomach, goes through the digestive process, and helps build and sustain your body. And that's really what nutrition really is. It's something that goes into your mouth, into your body, and sustains and builds and grows your body. So where it gets confusing is that sometimes people have food addictions. Sometimes food is used for socialization, like sitting around a campfire, cooking some hot dogs or whatever, and just communicating with people and eating and enjoying a good meal together. So it gets a little bit more complicated, but in a nutshell, nutrition really is the food that you put in your body and how it affects your digestive system and how it goes throughout your body and makes your body stronger or weaker. Okay, so we just talked about what is nutrition. Now let's get specific and talk about different types of nutrition. And this is a whole big science, but just in a real quick synopsis of nutrition, I think of nutrition as being 5 things. Now let's just take a look at 5 different types of nutrition. The first thing you got, and people really talk about a lot about, is fat. So fat is an important type of nutrition. Another type of nutrition that you got is carbs, carbohydrates. Another type of nutrition that you got is protein. A 4th type of nutrition you got is vitamins and minerals. And the last type of nutrition that I like to think of is water. And all of these different types of nutrition are critical to your body and your well-being, and it's so important to have a balance and get a supply of each type of these nutritions. And so don't be afraid to eat fat, but the problem is if you have a diet where your diet and the ratio in your diet of fat is so high, it's going to impact your ability to lose weight and keep a healthy weight and keep healthy just in general. So it's important to have a balance of all these different types of nutrients. So what's the deal about plant-based nutrition? Why is everybody raving about it? And what's the big deal about it? And just let me give you my perspective on this. In my hand, I have this package of sausage. And in this package are 4 sausage links. Each one of these sausages has 400 calories. So if you're like me, I could take this package of sausage and sit down in one session and eat this whole thing. 1,600 calories. All right? But take a look at this. These Power Greens, a bag of Power Greens. In this bag, there's 16 cups of greens in here. And to eat this thing, if you ate this whole bag, there'd be less than 200 calories in this whole bag. But the difference between the sausage and the greens are the sausage has this high calories, 1,600 calories, 200 calories, but if you examine the nutritional content, the vitamins, the minerals, the fiber, all the different parts of nutrition that are in this bag of greens, you would just be amazed. You could get enough nutrients, micronutrients in your diet for a couple days just from this bag of greens, 200 calories. And that's why I think people are so excited about plant-based nutrition, is because it's so high in nutrient density, and it just is packed with vitamins and minerals and fiber, has healthy fats and those kinds of things in a green plant-based diet. Now, one thing you have to do, you have to keep in mind when you're into a plant-based diet is you do need to have an assortment. You can't just take this bag of greens, throw it in a grinder and a smoothie and blend that sucker up and drink it for the next day and a half. You got to add a bunch of different types of plant-based. You got to include, I always encourage people to eat my G-bombs. It's called greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Get all those different types of plant nutrients into your system, and that will give you all the vitamins and minerals that you need at a low calorie count, and that's what will get you healthy and get you down to a size that you want to be. Okay, so nutrition, plant-based nutrition. Is it good for you? I think so. Check it out, learn some more. But you might be asking, how did this Montana guy go from meat and potato diet to eating smoothies with greens and all these different kinds of plant-based nutrition in them? Well, here's a couple things that I did. The first thing that happened is I needed a crisis. I had a crisis in my life. I was starting to see my body fall apart. I was gaining weight. I was seeing my friends losing it with their health. So I decided I just had to make a change. And then the next thing I did was I educated myself. And what I did personally was I went through this great course on a nutritarian diet. And in this course, it talked all about how nutrients interacts with your body and how it helps improve your health if you're eating the right kinds of food. And so I went through this big, huge education process, and I would encourage you to do that too. And I believe everybody has a different route with this whole nutrition thing, and something that might work for me might not work for you. So it's up to you to go do some educating yourself, find some answers, explore, experiment, those kinds of things. And then the next thing you have to do, or the next thing I had to do, is change your habits. So I'm around all these Montana people, and I got a lot of snickering behind my back. People are going, "Ooh, Dave's eating this weird food now." And so you have to start changing the way you eat. And you base it on what is working best for you, not because your family, your friends think it's the best thing to do, but it's based on what you've educated yourself about and the change that you want to do. And then the last thing I think that was important for me was just asking for help, getting help with this thing. I reached out to people who were like-minded and wanted that change in their life as well. And if you're interested in that kind of thing and getting some help, get a hold of me. Find me on my social media, contact me, and I'd love to chat with you about your situation. And so those are the things that you can do. And so for me, yes, I think plant-based diets are the best diets. Have I completely gone off of meat and other types of nutrition? No, I haven't. I do it all, but I think that getting a plant-based diet as your foundation is critical to your health. So get on board with this, get a hold of me, share this video with people who need to know this information. Like, share, subscribe, and share this stuff around. Let's make this health revolution something incredible that will change people's lives.